At 9:17 a.m. on 13th March 2019, inside the foyer of the New Zealand Police National Headquarters on 180 Molesworth Street in Wellington, a forensic audit flagged an anomalous sequence of database queries. That morning, the system log detailed entry NIA 02947, referencing the National Intelligence Application, NIA, made by then Constable Vili Taukolo. Within minutes, a supervisory alert was triggered. The same individual had accessed multiple files tied to ongoing investigations and active criminal informants. In that moment, the case began. As investigators later confirmed through police reports and court documents, what started as irregular database access would widen into a full-scale breach of trust within the national policing system. On the evening of the 6th of October 2018, Constable Vili Taukolo reported for duty at the Papatoeto station on Station Road, Auckland. He clocked in at 18:05 hours, checked his uniform and equipment, and met with his supervising sergeant in the briefing room. According to his duty log, he stood watch in a general responder role until midnight. At 22:47 hours, Taukolo submitted a routine query in the NIA system, entering a vehicle registration linked to a minor traffic offence. At this stage, all data accessed remained seemingly appropriate. Investigators later noted that this entry formed part of his normal patrol activity. The action established his ongoing access to the NIA, a detail that would become central to the investigation. The system recorded the query under his credentials without incident. His shift ended at 00:15 hours the following morning, logged as complete. On the 12th of November 2018, at the Newmarket Service Centre on 214 Khyber Pass Road in Auckland, Taukolo attended a training refresher on database use, ending the session at 15:32 hours. The training included a practical module on the NIA system usage policy and access logs. His attendance was confirmed via training registry and sign-in sheet. The routine nature of the training obscured the fact that the NIA system was already being accessed beyond normal parameters. As one document put it, every officer's NIA transactions are subject to audit, yet the audit trail would later show anomalies. The training bridged his routine duty into the institutional controls that should have prevented misuse. 17 other officers attended the same session. Each signed acknowledgement forms, confirming they understood the parameters of authorized database access. The forms were filed in personnel records at district headquarters. On 29th January 2019, at his residence on Mango Valley Drive in Auckland, Taukolo received a notification via the Police Human Resources system. His annual performance review would occur on 15th February. The review afterwards rated his performance as meets expectations. During that review, the supervising sergeant remarked, "Your access logs are clear." Unbeknown to them, the investigation would show the logs were far from clear. This moment underscores the tension between daily normalcy and the underlying anomaly. The routine review masked the eventual procedural breakdown. The NIA system holds data on nearly 2 million people, over 40% of New Zealand's population, including vehicle registrations, phone numbers, and investigation alerts. Standard protocol required supervisors to spot-check database queries monthly, but high-volume patterns often escaped notice without automated flagging systems. What appeared routine would soon require complete re-examination. On 13th March 2019 at 9:17 hours, the Wellington headquarters audit flagged the anomalous query NIA 02947 by Taukolo, showing multiple successive lookups between 9:12 and 9:19 at 180 Molesworth Street. The system's automatic alert triggered a supervisory email at 9:23 hours. Detective Sergeant Dave Lynch was tasked with the preliminary review. He accessed the audit logs at 9:27 hours, logged as entry 2019-0307. The investigation commenced the same day. The audit snapshot became the anchor for all subsequent inquiries. Lynch immediately recognized the volume as unusual. Standard patrol queries averaged 20 to 30 per shift. The flagged sequence showed over 200 queries in 7 minutes, all targeting files with active investigation markers. He placed a call to Auckland District Command at 9:41 hours. What had appeared as routine database maintenance now demanded immediate forensic attention. Later that day, at 14:05 hours, Detective Lynch and his team convened a meeting at Auckland's Central District headquarters. The agenda: review of Taukolo's NIA access history from the 1st of January 2018 to the 13th of March 2019. An initial sample of 1,200 queries revealed over 20,000 flagged entries. The team allocated investigation tasks: forensic IT led by analyst Maria Dierberg, personnel interviews, and system access controls review. The cause and effect became clear. Extraordinary access triggered investigative audit activation, which demanded formal investigative response. Dierberg noted in her preliminary assessment that the query patterns showed deliberate targeting, searches clustered around specific case files and informant records rather than random browsing. Standard protocol required isolation of the officer's credentials pending investigation. By 16:30 hours, Taukolo's system access was suspended. The institutional machinery had shifted from routine oversight to active investigation in 7 hours. On 15th March 2019, at 10:30 hours, Taukolo was summoned to an interview room at Papatoeto Station on Station Road in Auckland. The interviewing officer, Sergeant Karin Malthus, referenced the log. Your user ID made 5,432 NIA queries on 10th March 2019. According to the transcript, Taukolo responded, I cannot recall making those. The procedural disclosure was read, and he was cautioned under Section 262 of the Crimes Act. The procedural step was consistent with police interviewing guidelines. The human consequence: an officer now under investigation by his employer, Malthus documented his responses in interview log 2019-03-15-KM. Taukolo declined legal representation at that stage. The interview lasted 47 minutes. When asked about specific queries, names of protected witnesses and confidential informants, he maintained he had no recollection of accessing those files. The transcript was sealed as evidence. On 27th March 2019 at 11:45 hours, the team executed a search warrant at Taukolo's home address on Mango Valley Drive in the presence of the IT forensic specialist. They seized a password-protected laptop, printed NIA query sheets, and approximately 70,000 New Zealand dollars in cash found under the mattress. The forensic chain of custody was logged under Exhibit IT 2019-0327W3. Evidence tied the digital access to physical remuneration, indicating cause and effect. Database misuse produced illicit payment at chapter end. The ordinary home environment had become a crime scene. The printed query sheets showed handwritten notations matching NIA file numbers. Investigators photographed the cache in situ before collection. The laptop, a standard consumer model, was transported to the Digital Forensics Lab in sealed evidence bags. What had been a suburban residence now formed part of the criminal investigation perimeter. On 9th April 2019, forensic analysis began of the seized laptop at the NZP Digital Forensics Lab on Hamilton Road in Auckland. Analyst Dierberg's report, dated 23rd May 2019, found metadata: 33,478 NIA queries under Taukolo's credentials between 18th February 2018 and 25th March 2019, many flagged as unauthorized. The procedural note: this type of forensic processing typically takes 8 weeks. Here it took 6. The effect: digital trail firmly established. The laptop contained saved PDF exports of NIA records, screenshot files, and encrypted folders requiring specialist decryption. Dierberg's team recovered browser history showing repeated logins to the NIA portal outside official duty hours, cell phone records subpoenaed, separately showed location data placing Taukolo at his residence during many of the unauthorized queries. The digital forensics confirmed what the audit logs suggested: systematic, deliberate database exploitation over 14 months. On 17th June 2019 at 1300 hours, interviews began with 5 senior officers whose records appeared in the NIA access list. At the Auckland District Command Centre on 8 Whale Road, Detective Lynch documented the interviews. One officer testified, "I saw my name pop up in a query list and asked HR if I'd done that access. I hadn't." Each interview formed part of the evidentiary web. Witnesses saw their data breached, linking human impact to procedural findings. The cause and effect? Unauthorized queries led to personnel discovery, which produced formal witness statements. Another officer described receiving anonymous contact about a confidential operation. Contact that could only have originated from leaked intelligence data. A third officer's family members had been queried, raising concerns about personal safety. The interviews revealed the breach extended beyond professional files into private lives. Institutional trust had been comprehensively violated. On 22 July 2019, the review of the institution's internal controls was completed. The draft internal audit, file reference AUC-19-007, revealed that the NIA logging and audit system lacked user alert thresholds for high-volume queries. The audit recommended creation of the National Integrity Unit. The institutional consequence? Policy reform triggered by evidence of procedural failure. The audit team, led by senior analyst James Riordan, identified systemic gaps: no real-time monitoring, insufficient supervisor training on audit interpretation, and no automated flagging for query volume exceeding normal operational parameters. The report noted that Taukolo's activity should have triggered alerts months earlier. Recommendations included implementation of machine learning algorithms to detect anomalous access patterns and mandatory monthly reviews of all officers' query logs. On 12 March 2020, the police announced formation of a dedicated integrity unit in response. The case had exposed institutional vulnerability. Between 6 August and 21 August 2019, investigators traced financial records, bank deposits into Taukolo's account totaling $54,000 New Zealand dollars from unidentified sources, and cash withdrawals coinciding with high-volume NIA access days. The investigator in charge, Detective Sergeant Neil McClune, noted, "The synchronization between query spikes and cash flow is not coincidental. This financial digital nexus anchored motive procedurally. It required forensic accounting cross-match, completed in 5 weeks. The result? Motive and method aligned. Bank statements showed deposits marked as personal transfers from accounts registered to shell entities. Withdrawal patterns matched dates when printed. NIA query sheets were created, suggesting a transactional relationship between information access and payment. The financial investigation provided the missing piece, not merely unauthorized access, but access for profit. The case had transformed from procedural breach to criminal enterprise. On the 5th of December 2019, in the Auckland District Court, Taukolo pleaded guilty to 1 count of accessing the NIA system for a dishonest purpose under the Crimes Act. Sentencing was carried out on the 6th of December 2019 at 14:30 hours by Judge Philippa Cunningham. He received a sentence of 2 years and 2 months imprisonment. The court also ordered full disclosure of his NIA access log. The procedural consequence: a criminal prosecution and institutional transparency. Judge Cunningham's sentencing remarks referenced the egregious breach of public trust and noted that Taukolo had weaponized his position for personal gain. The Crown prosecutor presented evidence that leaked intelligence had compromised 3 active investigations. Defense counsel argued Taukolo had cooperated with investigators post-arrest, though the guilty plea came only after forensic evidence was presented. The courtroom, filled with serving officers, heard the verdict in silence. On 12 March 2020, the New Zealand Police publicly announced the formation of the National Integrity Unit, led by a detective superintendent, based in Wellington, to investigate police corruption and protect the integrity of intelligence systems. Taukolo was formally discharged from police service, and an internal review of NIA access policy was implemented. What remained unanswered? Whether all leaked information had been recovered, or whether any operations were compromised. The human consequence? Institutional trust wounded, but procedural reform underway. The NIU's mandate included proactive monitoring, investigation of misconduct allegations, and annual audits of all high-security database systems. In his sentencing comments, Judge Cunningham noted, "The breach of trust here extends well beyond any one file." Today, the same database entry Taukolo used in March 2019, NIA 02947, remains sealed behind newly implemented audit controls.